All right. Good evening, all you silver stackers out there. Thank you for joining me. I am so excited to be back doing live streams on the daily. This is, I don't know, this is, like I said last couple weeks, this is what I love to do. I love to interact in real time, talk about things that actually matter in the moment, and kind of discover what what are our plans. And we've already got Maestro Metals. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Logan B432, what are we buying this week? That's a good question. We'll talk about it. I can tell you what I'm shopping for. Sometimes auctions don't go through, though. You know what I mean? Honest Value 1. Awesome. What's going on, buddy? Thanks for being here. Novice Prep. What's going on? Thank you. Thank you for checking out the live stream. So first and foremost, I just wanted to kind of reiterate that the plan these days is to go live every evening, sorry, not every evening, but Sunday through Thursday, when we have live open markets overnight and such, that we can discuss in real time what's going on, do charting, do analysis. The format is going to be somewhere in this kind of a range, guys, right? We'll always check out what's going on in the precious metals markets in real time right when we go live. We'll check it out throughout the stream as well. We'll do some like charting and speculation and kind of decide, try to understand what's going on. We'll go over any pertinent news that's out there. So if you guys hear some news go from another channel or from articles you're reading or whatever, if it's something that we should probably address, drop the questions in the conversation in the chat and we can bring it up as we go. I've also pulled some news articles that we can always fall back on to discuss different parts of, all about metals, right? Obviously, we'll do Kitco price updates throughout because, things are in a very volatile state, constantly moving. I also wanted to come up with a segment called alternate investment ideas, where we talk about something outside of the standard precious metals. It could be a stock, it could be anything, crypto, it could be real estate, whatever. We just go into it, we dig into it a little bit, and we kind of discuss, ways to make that investment pay out. And then I wanted to come up with this idea to have a AI challenge where we ask AI like every night, or what do you think the silver and gold are going to close at? We record it and we see how good and how intelligent AI is at predicting the markets. I figured that'd be just something we can do for fun. Obviously, no idea what responses we're going to get or how valid they are. But that being said, all right. So going through here, I don't know how you guys feel about things right now, but I feel like in the metals markets, there's a lot of news. We've got AI guy YouTube channels popping up everywhere that's getting a lot of attention, and we've got obviously the standard YouTube channels constantly talking about things. There's just a lot going on, right? We got the world politics, political macro events happening, things like Venezuela just capturing Maduro and things like that. There's a lot going on, and it's only been 4 days into the year, and there's already so much happening with China restricting exports and all sorts of things. So what that kind of indicates is when we're watching these metals prices and live markets, and we're watching these numbers go up and down, it's really a lot of noise. And I'm going to highlight a book for you guys that I think, this is a small little book. You could read this book probably in like one half of an afternoon if you really wanted to. Sat down and read it straight. But this book, The Noise Factor, Hidden Forces That Imperil Financial Markets, by Yeshaya Schlag. I really think that you guys should check this book out or find it on an ebook or audiobook or whatever you got, really. Or just buy it. I like buying. I like just like my silver, my gold. Like if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Like I like to own all of my digital media and everything, or all of my media. So I think you should read this book. The summary of this book is how our modern markets fill you with noise. I think you appreciate you guys hopping in here. Dennis, what's going on? Dropping Zombies. Steve White, Big Green Stacker. All you guys are awesome, man. We will get into all the silver and gold prices and all that stuff in just a little bit, but I just wanted to do a quick intro here. There's just a lot of noise out there. And at this point, with the way algorithms work and the way that you have such easy access to all this information at your fingertips within instantaneous, right? There's enough out there for you to confirm every single thing that you believe and think that you're wholly right. Everything that you believe is exactly right because you can find all these thousands of sources that agree with you completely, right? That's just the way it is. But at the end of the day, it really does, guys. It really does end up being just noise. You got to kind of form your own opinions. You got to do your own analysis. You got to understand things at a deeper level. You got to ignore the noise and focus on the fundamentals sometimes. So I encourage you guys to pick up this book. It's a good read, especially going into such a volatile turmoil market that seems to be 2026. Really, really, really encourage you guys to keep growing your mind and growing your thought. What's going on, Vegas Stacker? How you doing? When I first heard about this Venezuela thing going on a few months ago, I went and bought some oil stocks. Yeah, Logan B, we are actually, funny enough, I am going to get into some oil stocks later today because somebody had asked me a few weeks ago on a live stream. They said, what are some other areas that you're looking to invest in besides gold and silver and blah, blah, blah? And one of the things I mentioned to them was oil because I feel like, we're skipping ahead. We're kind of foreshadowing the conversation a little bit, but I feel like oil is being suppressed intentionally to keep inflation down. And because of that, it's, let's say the things change every few years. And I feel like it's a good opportunity personally. Obviously, I'm not giving any individual financial advice here. I'm just talking from my own perspective. But for me, I feel like oil and oil companies and crude oil barrel prices are just being suppressed and they are low and they have room to go up. And yeah, we'll see. Good. All right, let's see. I need the silver to hold for one more day. Dennis, are you trying to sell or buy or what? The shops around here open back up tomorrow. Oh, okay, got you. So you want the price to hold. Well, speaking of the price, why don't I go ahead and do this? Boom. Everything's working. Oh, except that. Hold on. I'm trying to I did a lot of work on the stream today, and I'm really trying to get things to work. But while I fix this, let's do this. Boom, boom, boom. Bam. Are we back? We're back. Okay. Current gold prices, guys. We got a little bit of ramping up right now. Silver is up 3.36% at $75.22. You guys want to know something funny? I listed 2 ounces of silver for sale this evening before the markets opened. The market price was $72.77. I listed it for $74 an ounce. Shipping paid. I got no bites, no real bites. And now silver is $75.22 and I still have shipping paid. And they don't want it. So I'm running it as a little bit of a social experiment to see how the price point per ounce, even though it's not, the cumulative price was under spot without the actual price per ounce being under spot. I'm wondering how people react to it. And it's been a very fun and interesting social experiment. I'll let you guys know how it plays out at the end. Gold is up 1.44%, which actually that's a pretty solid move for gold right now. $62.20. Breaking into that 4,400 mark. Platinum 1%, $23. That's not much for platinum. Platinum and palladium normally move a lot more than that. So these are pretty stable. Silver's the only one. Well, silver and gold are kind of doing a little bit of a run up right here. So that's good. You'll be fine. Prices won't just shoot up or down. It will take a while. Yeah, even if they go up a lot overnight, like right now, we saw the last few days, there's been quite a bit of pullback anyway. So you can see like most of these days, we had a pretty good run up up to the middle of the night. And then when all the Western markets open, we kind of had that sell off. You can see that kind of happening a few days in a row. So, you know, nobody knows exactly what's going to happen in the markets. We will have to see as we go. Tim Barbarian, it is, yes, it is. But this is the new direction of the channel, buddy. Well, thanks for being here, Tim Barbarian. How you doing, sir? I wanted to buy more gold. I'm thinking about getting another ounce. Yeah, dropping zombies. I am actually heavier gold right now because of the GSR. I am heavier gold as in heavier buying gold. I've bought 5 pieces of gold in the last 2 weeks, and I plan to tack on a little bit more. Now, I'm gonna do quick little. I'm gonna write on this chart a little bit. Also, I want to go over this chart here. You guys might find this chart interesting. Now, you probably can't really tell what's going on this chart just from like the quick glance because it's so small. What I've done is I pulled up like the relative values since September. Or no, wait. Let me go further back. Okay, this is September here. These are like the relative values since September. So this bottom green line is copper price, you know, increasing or decreasing. The blue line, the dark blue line right here is gold. The yellow line right here is platinum. The light blue line is palladium. And the green and red candles are silver. Now, obviously, we all know silver has had the best run up since September. Looks like we're up about 91%. Platinum's up 57%. Palladium's 47%. Copper 27%. And gold 27%. All of which are extremely, extremely good levels of growth over the last few months here. Now, what's interesting is as we zoom in, you can see how the relative price changes kind of switch with history. And look what's going on. You can see platinum and palladium popping off, right? Which we all kind of know that happens. But look, and this is since December, I think. Yeah, since December, platinum's growth obviously is 31%, 31.36. And if I go a little bit closer, you know, less time frame, platinum's at 32, silver's 30, palladium 13, copper 9. So funny enough is in the last, I can't zoom in too much. I'll try, see what happens when I zoom in too much is it actually changes my chart. So I'll do my best, guys, for you. I apologize. So what's funny is in the last month, platinum's actually been the winner. And interestingly enough is copper has actually overtaken the growth of gold in the last month. It's pretty nuts. And then if we go in tighter, right? If we go tighter into the last week or two, copper is actually holding steady above most of them up there with silver because it just hasn't had a drop off, whereas gold, platinum, and palladium had a drop off. So I just found that to be really interesting looking at the relativity charts here of each of these metals. This one, I know this one's a little bit harder to see, so we can go back over here to silver's chart. But I found that pretty interesting. So silver has topped them all for the year, but and it's also still very, very strong in the last month and last week. But it is interesting that as the others fell, you know, copper kind of stood the test of time, and copper kind of stayed up. You know, copper, nobody really cares, but it's just, I found that to be very, very interesting. Silver is 1,750 pounds on the chart right now for 1 kilogram. But here in the UK, it costs, oof, yeah, you've got those extra taxes, don't you, dropping zombies? I hate to hear that, man. I really do. What's going on, Brilliance? Thanks for stopping in. Good evening, sir. You've been stacking silver since it was $6.50 back in 2002. Back then, I thought it was expensive. Tim Barbarian, man, I hope you stacked a lot, my friend. I hope you stacked a lot. I was a little bit later. I've had precious metals for a very long time, but I never really had, you know, more than a few ounces. It was about 4 years ago, I guess, at this point. Yeah, because it's 2026. So it was about 4 years ago that I started buying particularly silver. And I didn't even actually start buying gold until this year. So, yeah, I don't see how copper is high. There's so much. So remember, this isn't high. That was not a chart saying copper is high. That is price changes. So that is just the change of price, percentage change of price. And so funny enough is that even though it's like under $6, it still has had a pretty decent year as well. That's it. 20% VAT, man. It's almost like dropping zombies. Like they don't want you to own things that can create your own wealth. So we were talking about this channel here, and I want to draw it again if I could. me draw a line here. I just need a straight line. Give me a line. Give me a line. Give me a line. An arrow works. All right. We were talking about this last time we spoke, but if we're trying to look at this line, oops, right? We've got this bottom support level that has been tested 4 different times at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You could almost consider that a 5th test. It didn't quite get there, so we'll ignore it for now. And then if you look at the poll in the chat panel, it says, you know, do you think we're going to break out of this channel? So I wanted to explain what channel I'm talking about. Now, what's funny is this is what the real channel that I'm looking at, even though we've had a breakout and retraction, I feel like this is really where we're kind of like having, oh, can I not do another one? Well, I feel like this is really the channel. All right. Even though we've had some breakouts, we've had some pretty heavy retractions pulling it back down to that support level. That's not a straight line. Anyway, and then, you know, again, we broke through again and we retracted again. Now we're kind of like giving it like a semi test here. Now this is going to be the key today. Like, can it hold above the resistance level? If it holds above this resistance level, man, you know, we are looking good. Ideally, the ideal situation that we want to find here is we want to see something like a breakout up followed by a retest down, and then it ultimately breaks back up a lot. Like that's the ideal scenario. Oh, that's the ideal scenario 1, right? We also have another scenario which just do the opposite. And that's the one we want to avoid. I was stacking silver when I was a kid in the late 70s. I was a nerd and had coin magazines along with comic books. Got the Hulk 181 in primo shape that I bought as a kid. Awesome, man. Keep that thing graded and clean. Will copper hit 10,000 or 10,000? What's going on? The buck stops here. Will copper hit $10 this year? I don't know why I keep saying 10,000. I got high numbers on my brain. I don't think copper hits $10 this year. I'll be impressed if copper can get to $6.50 and maintain it, to be quite frank. Copper has this tendency to get into the 6s or the high 5s and then get a massive beat down. Like I'm talking like 20-30% beat down in price. That if we want to talk about metals that seem to be completely manipulated, I would say that copper's got to be right up there. They've got to be right up there with the heaviest metal manipulation for pricing. They turned off the notifications to your favorite channel, Dragoon. What's going on, man? Appreciate you scratching your head. So here, I got some new things. Check out these alerts, guys. Let me know what you think. So in this first scenario, that with the breaking through that resistance level, testing it and bouncing off of it higher, I am extremely. Boom! It worked. Did everything go through there? Was that good? Did you guys get that? Was that nice? Was that nice? And if it goes the other way, we are. Sorry, guys. I spent some time this morning setting this up, and I want to make sure that things are looking good. You must be 100 if they turned it off. Sorry, they turned off the notifications. Thank you for checking and turning them back on. I just started stacking in October. I'll take a huge tank so I can buy lower. Novice prep, yeah, man. Novice prep. I'm just curious, based on your name, did you prep other things prior to precious metals, and you're just moving into precious metals for sort of like that money prep thing? Or, are you just new entirely to prepping in general? Because some people do this for prepping. Some people do this for just monetary, inflation hedging. Some people do it for speculation and trading. Like, everybody's got a different reason why they're into precious metals. I'm just glad everybody's here. All right, I'm going to play real quick. Remember, bulls make money, bears make money, but pigs get what? Slaughtered. And then I got one more. So whenever we see a movement that's absolutely unbelievable, we've got this one. Anyway, I'm just playing around with the new channel videos and sound effects that I've been working on to add some excitement. I don't know why it's changing the menu here. I'll have to figure out exactly what that's about. But here we go. So yeah, we're gonna be hold tight. This is something like I've seen again after midnight. after midnight. You know, like this all kind of changes, and we'll keep an eye on it. Just prepping the last couple years now, just getting to the metals. Needed to get stuff to keep the family fed. Yeah, absolutely novice prep. I understand it. Food, water, you know, water purification, energy generation, right? Tools, skills, books, like that stuff's, I think, heavily more important for the prepping world at first. And then obviously barter trade, you know, I mean, I think honestly, everybody should have in a prep situation, you should have some US dollars as well. Because if you really do have to, you know, flee an area and get your bug out bag and head out somewhere, then you probably are going to have to pay some people along the way, and not everybody's going to be accepting of, you know, food, water, or precious metals as payment. So having some fiat just to kind of run around and barter with, as well as your precious metals, I think is part of the stack there. But yeah, I mean, there's a ton of other things everybody always needs. You know, you need the tools, you need everything. We'll see. Will silver hit $100 this year? That's the question, right? I think long term, Buck, my prediction was, and I've talked about this a lot. So, and I know not everybody watches every live stream, but we're gonna scroll out here. How do I clean this up? Let's dumpster these. Let's dumpster these things. Reset the chart. Remove the 4 drawings. Okay. All right. If we're scrolling out, where are we at here? What's the time range here? November 2025 is there. Let's see how far back we got to go. Yeah. I'm going to have to restart this thing because this thing is not refreshing the way I want. 1 second. I'm going to go here. We're going to go here. We're going to click that. Give me a chart I can zoom out in without it crashing me. Without it crashing. Go 5 year. All right. So I don't know how you can't be bullish, right? When we're looking at this run up with all the macro effects. Essentially, it's the macro effects that make the biggest difference to me. The industrial demand is one thing. Like, industrial demand has definitely changed in the 2000s from, you know, the 80s to the 2000s and 11s. Technology has definitely changed and advanced, and the production of that has ramped up so significantly that there's definitely a high demand. I just don't know if like that's enough to drive it itself. All the other restrictions are there as well, but the number one thing that actually has me the most bullish for the metals and the most concerned for life. Also, Stapler, I just saw the notification. I must have done something over your notification. Stapler, thank you so much for the gifted channel memberships to everybody. If you got a channel membership, say thank you. Appreciate that. That's cool. I'm sorry I glossed right over that apparently while I was fiddling with my own channel alerts. So Dropping Zombie says he buys because money seems to be worth less and less each year. Those are the reasons that are more important to me about the price of silver long-term breaking that 3-digit point. What's going on, Silver Serpent? Thanks for coming in and giving some support. And here's what I'm looking at, right? You've got like this idea, this article is talking about it. There's a lot of people talking about this, but the de-dollarization, the gold and a shift to a multipolar world. You have all these different nations out there that are making some of them have been always making a concerted effort to become less and less dependent on the US dollar since, like early 2000s and such, especially our biggest kind of like enemies, you could say, Russia and China. They have been pushing to de-dollarize a long time. Russia, in fact, is like pretty much completely no longer reliant on the US dollar. China is working its way there. But the concern for me is like all the BRICS nations, the Brazils and the Indias and the Saudi Arabias and all those groups that are starting to kind of de-dollarize and look for alternatives to the US dollar as the global reserve currency. That to me is the number one reason why I am concerned and I stack. And although I do think that that's going to be very beneficial for the value of my precious metals, I have way too much money and way too many other things and assets that that could definitely have a very negative impact. So it's like catching a falling knife for this one for me personally. But I have been in the process of transferring assets into precious metals over the last couple of years for sure, and then like heavy the last couple of years. And I started about 4 years ago slowly, and then ramped it up. So yeah, I mean that's my biggest concern is this idea of losing our reserve currency status. Now that's going to be I think it's going to be a long time coming. It'll be something that probably affects me and my family, in the waning years of our, kind of like, life and what's going on with, at that point I'll probably be retired and everything. But we'll see. I mean, that's all again pure speculation. Marty Zab, what's going on, dude? Thanks for hopping in here. If you're new, nap time, what's up? What's up? What's up? If you guys have said hello and I haven't caught you, say it again. I want to make sure I always greet everybody that takes the time to come into the channel. Jay Bowers, what's going on? Dragoon, look up land patents. Are you wanting me to look up how China like freaking owns everything? And I'll look it up in a second. Marty says, with silver this high, the amount of people who are blind and don't have sigmas might be buying blind and getting more fakes. Buyer beware. Don't be the one without sigma and test your stack. Yeah, okay. That's a good point. The Sigma Analytics Pro or Metalytics Pro. Sigma Metalytics. Marty, I've been kind of testing with obviously if you're buying from like a reputable dealer, you should in theory be okay. Like you can ask, like if you're at an LCS or something, you can always ask them to like test it right there in front of you. But you are right, man. I would say if you're buying from auction sites especially, or peer-to-peer, like if I'm buying from eBay and it's Zhang Jingzhung, no offense, and he's got one feedback or one item sold, and it says that the $35 American Silver Eagle is going to ship from, Japan or China. Like, I'm sorry, but if you buy that item, you kind of get what you get. Like, you should. There are some things that you can do to know. To know what's going on. But yeah, there are also people that there's going to be, Marty, some situations I'm sure where people get a big stack over years and they don't even know that they have fakes in it, and they probably will sell it as like a bundle deal, 10 ASEs or whatever, 10 whatevers, and or 20, and they don't realize that one of them or two of them is a fake, and then they'll pass it off to the next guy and the next guy, and that's how they kind of get in that circulation. And then eventually somebody takes it to an LCS and tries to sell it, or someone that tests it, and they test it and they go, hey, you know what? This is a fake actually, and I won't take it. And then that person gets burned down the line. That's what I think mostly happens. Look up Land Patents by Ron Gibson. Brilliance. You might have to drop a comment in the comment section to remind me to go back and do that. I don't have it set up to kind of like scour the scour articles right now. I have some articles pulled up, but I don't really have it set up to do that. The Sigma that I have has one flaw that is not a big deal. If you know it, take a regular quarter from your change and see that. Yeah, I've heard that Forbidden Planet. I've heard that you can pass off the plated quarters as, I think, 90%.
Stay a while,
but it is what it is. It is what it is. I hope people protect themselves. Yeah, definitely, buddy. I completely agree. China does 70% of the world's silver refining. They stopped all exports as of 72. Yeah, exactly, Tim Barbarian. That's one of the, what we thought would be one of the larger pushes for why, what is going on with my scene? My scene is changing. Like, as we speak, my scene is changing. That is one of the concerns with silver's price, and the decoupling of the Asian metals markets and their prices is pretty significantly different than the US markets right now. So we're going to have to see how that plays out. I think I haven't checked, but is it true still that Asia is like above $85 per ounce in their market? And I heard that their street market is like insane. Like what people are buying like peer to peer, I've heard is like absolutely buck wild. People really want their metals right now. So I don't know if that's true. Again, I haven't fact checked all that, but we'll see. Look it up later. Yeah, I will. I'll definitely check it out. You really can't lose money with silver and gold if you know what you're doing. If you bought silver right now and it crashed by 50%, I could still make 5x what I paid. for making jewelry. Oh, that's interesting. Dropping zombie. I don't have the faculties and the equipment to, I guess smelt, and smelt down my metals and turn it into other things. But those are definitely good skills to have, and I understand where you're coming from with that. And hey, more power to you, dude. I know people stack different things for different, contingencies. I guess we'll see what they do. Hey, sober stacker in the house, man. Appreciate you stopping in. Thanks for hanging out with us. Have you all seen the videos of Chinese people going crazy buying silver there? They buy Forbidden Planet. I have seen videos of that. That's what I was referencing earlier. I do find it interesting though. Like, I don't know if it's like legit. Does that make sense? I don't know. I feel weird watching those things and like all those people scrambling around those like silver markets, but I guess it's the same thing here. If you're looking at these videos, or like Harry's on Silver Dragons and Tim's on Yankee Stacking, and they've got lines out the door of people flooding. Well, I would imagine if there were 3 or 4 metals dealers all in the same local area right there, all 3 or 4 shops would probably be flooded with people buying and selling. I don't know. Maybe it's the same type of situation. They just have an open air market, and they are trustworthy dealers. I just don't know. I don't know. I've never been there, and I've definitely never shopped in those kind of like markets areas in foreign countries. So, but for all I know, they could be legit businesses that set up street shops, and we'll see. We'll see. Another gem for you to look up: DOT license plate, one-time life fee, no renewal fee. Private carriage plates works on. Okay. Brilliant is dropping some gems for all of us right now. Also, this is my gigantic copper bar here, by the way, if you can't tell. Just to reiterate, if anybody who has just dropped in, highly recommend you guys pick up this book right here or go read it in some capacity. Everything we're talking about, you guys have just heard me ramble for like 15-20 minutes about all these ridiculous things that could have an upward impact on the metals market and a downward impact on the US economy. And a lot of it is going to end up being noise. We have to be able to parse through the information and figure out what actually matters and what doesn't matter. And books like this kind of help you understand how much noise is out there and how the markets are beneficial towards those who manage the markets versus those who actually buy and sell on the market. So check that book out, The Noise Factor. It's a quick little baby read there. Easy, get in, get out, and you'll learn something. You'll learn something and you'll be able to apply it in your everyday life, I promise. So go check that out if you haven't already. And what's up, MJ Booner? How you going? People are selling their houses and pawning stuff in China to buy silver. It's pretty insane. It reminds me of, Viva Polska, loved your Polish video. What's going on, Marty? Tim Barbarian. People are selling their houses and pawning stuff in China to buy silver. It's pretty insane. Reminds me of Evergrande all over again. I would say we've got to be careful. One of the last videos we did, we talked about the what's it called? The market, psychology or psychology of markets or whatever it was called, where you get into that mania euphoria stage, and that normally indicates the top of a market. I don't know about you, but I don't want that to be $75 an ounce, but it sure is starting to feel like it's $75 an ounce. Hearing about all these stores with like 20 buyers lined up out the door at all-time highs, it causes me, it's exciting, but it causes me skepticism and concern. And I'm the guy stepping back. The more people I see lining up the door, the more steps I'm taking backwards, walking slowly away from the door. If you catch my drift there, and I'm like, something's going on over there. It must be exciting. I'm gonna take a step back, pause, and reevaluate, and make sure I want to go in there and hang out with them. Right? One or both were fake. Sorry, nap time. Just today, this guy on Reddit posted a Swiss 1 ounce gold bar he got for his birthday with the certain number, and in the comments, another guy posted a picture of his 1 ounce bar with the same. Oh, that's not good. Yeah. Definitely. That's a good point. One or both, or both, right? I guess I would not trust buying silver in China because it seems like all the fake silver American coins come from China. I mean, I agree with that, but like, let's be real. Like, we live in a world where all the fakes and all the scammers are going to come out now, right? They're not going to really bother with this stuff when silver's $15 an ounce for 5 years. It's not that I mean, it's probably still profitable for them to make something for like, you know, $1 and sell it for like 15 or 14. But now this is, you got to be on your toes more than you've ever been in your life. I would highly recommend only really dealing with tried and tested people that you can trust, or dealers you can trust. Just be careful, or do what other people have mentioned, and just drop the $1,500 into a Sigma so you can test your own metals and at least get some assurances that what you're getting is authentic. That's probably going to be one of my next big investments, is because I'm not the guy. I don't really enjoy going to the LCS and be like, hey, can you test this for me? It feels kind of weird. Rural Stacker, what's going on? Welcome. Thanks for being here. 2 years of the markets with 20% gains. 3 years have never happened. Seems like a dip coming for the markets. You know, Rural, that's you're picking up what I'm putting down right there. I'm a little behind on the chat, but yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing what you're seeing a little bit. Now, I do still think it's going to go higher, and I think this was a long drawn out explanation of, will silver go to 100 next year? I actually do see a world where silver continues up, and I mean, it's if you keep zooming out, it's not that big of a deal, right? What I really think is going to happen is I think silver is going to, oh, there's my old lines. You guys want to see that? I do think silver is going to sort of test that. I can't even see where I'm marking because of this thing being in the way. I do think that silver is going to test this line, but I think that's where the euphoria stage is going to shift to panic stage. And I think that's where all the people who made, you know, a quick buck here, buying here and buying here, I think this point is where all those people try to sell. I think this is where the futures markets have a lot of unorganic resistance, like the COMEX going to like a 50 or 60% margin requirement, flushing out basically everybody but the top tier, you know, funds and richest people out there, richest governments and banks. It flushes everybody else out. I really do see that this is going to be like the dynamite point where we're going to have to fight hard if we're going to get through that. And it might take, you know, seasons, but we'll see. We'll see. I've been needing a new book lately. Thanks for the rec. Yeah, check it out, Logan. I think you're going to enjoy it. Let me know, Logan, if you do buy it and read the book, The Noise Factor, when you get back. Oh, I just realized I'm not even showing the chart. When you get back, though, let me know what you thought of it and if it did have any impact on you. So this is the chart I was drawing as I was showing the other screen. Brilliance asks, Dragoon, are you diversified? I am diversified like a mo effing riot, buddy. I am in everything: real estate, stocks, bonds, cash, crypto, precious metals, collectibles, art, vehicles. I have been putting money into everything. My next purchase, most likely in 2026, is going to be property with about around 10 acres of land. That's what I'm looking for, and that's going to be sort of like the homestead property, if you get what I'm saying. But yeah, I'm in everything, Brilliance. Thanks for putting it out. Can't watch it if you don't make it. Yeah, exactly. You guys are talking about your last videos, right? There's a lot of great content creators in the channel, so make sure you support each other. Appreciate you guys. Crypto is just the OG holders telling everyone to buy in, so it makes the OG more rich. Yeah, the funny thing about the metals market is it really doesn't matter what mom and pop and you and I do at the local coin shop. Like if I'm buying a bunch of stuff from SD Bullion or on eBay, or if I'm going to my local coin shop and I'm buying a bunch of stuff, or I'm selling a bunch of stuff, it doesn't matter, man. It's not going to move the spot price. That it's such a weird thing, because in most other markets, like let's say somebody was mentioning comic books earlier, right? Comic books are a limited item, just like gold and silver. I mean, obviously they're able to discover more and more gold and silver, but slowly and refine it, yada yada. But like, let's take a comic book. Somebody was mentioning comic books. There's only so many ever printed of that specific issue, right? Of the first edition, that specific issue. If I buy them on the market, the price will go up per issue, because I will have to keep buying all the lower ones, pushing the price up, and then buying the higher price ones and the higher price ones and the higher price ones. The same thing as if I were to sell and I were to list one and then list two and then list three, all at lower prices each time trying to sell it. And if it doesn't sell, I list it lower until it sells, right? You're literally moving the market by your transactions inside the market. The precious metals markets don't move like that. They do not care what you and I go out there and purchase. We're not putting such a strain on demand that it's going to make the future spot prices change, right? The contracts change. That what's changing and pushing these things are billions, hundreds of millions, and billions of dollars buying futures contracts at higher and higher prices, or selling future contracts at lower and lower prices. That's it. So we can love metals and we can encourage people to buy them, but we're not moving the needle. We're just kind of participating in the market in a weird way. Marty says, wait, hold on, let me get caught up. They're breaking ground on silver mines again. Yeah, but I think that takes quite a bit of time before it really makes an impact, doesn't it? If you want to see some of the big players that have been standing on silver, type in banks ranked by derivatives. Yeah, there you go. Okay, there you go. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I'm here with you and land. Yeah, Marty, yeah, diversify. Now, there are people that have put all their eggs in one basket. I'm not saying you did anything wrong. Obviously, the last few years, you've made out like a bandit. But personally, with my money, I would start to look at the possibility of diversifying out of that. You know what I mean? Like, I would be starting to look at this idea of it might be time for me to move some money into other things, and I would probably focus on property and land, especially if you can do managed property that gets a renter and income. What's up, Robert W? Thank you so much again, Robert. I got my swag pack right here, dude. I've got my swag pack right here with your name on it. Let me switch the scene over. Yeah, there we go. Death from below, baby. I just dropped the gold back. Yeah, but I got your swag pack in here, man. Appreciate you guys. Got it all set up, my friend. My wife and I want to buy at least 2 acres this year and put a tiny home on it. We want chickens, a garden, get the hell out of Tulsa, got to get away somehow. I will put up a tent. Yeah, Silver Stacker. I've been looking at just as much as I've been tracking and following the precious metals markets. I've been looking at land rights and mineral rights and all that stuff. So do some research, just like you're probably educating yourself on finance and metals. Sober, educate yourself on real estate, property ownership, and all the things that you need to ask and all the questions you need to ask before you buy property to make sure that you can even do the things on that property that you want to do. There are some states out there that are a little less free, and they restrict you even putting sometimes homes on houses on land and stuff like that. So make sure you really do some research, get a good real estate agent or somebody, or educate yourself on it and be able to search better. I have a engineering and design background. I built and designed my own windmills and tiny home that is self-sufficient, no plugins needed. That's awesome, Brilliance, man. Brilliance, you sell that stuff? It sounds like you got a Sober Stacker in the chat who might be in the market for a tiny home that is definitely wind and solar powered. I'm pretty sure not only that, but you might have me in there too. Bing Becky, what's going on, Becky? Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Land is so cheap in America. I think buying land would be good investment for your family in the long run. Dropping zombies, it depends on where you're buying that land. It can be, hundreds of thousands of dollars an acre in certain parts of America. America is a very, very vast, large area. Now, if I'm going to buy, land up in the peaks of the Appalachian Mountains with no, no public road access and stuff like that, yeah, I could probably get 100 acres for like $50,000. But I'll never be able to like cultivate it or live on it and do anything with it, right? So it just all depends on where you're at. The land value where I live is worth more than the house that's on it. Yeah, nap time, a lot of that, I see that in a lot of places too. I want to be more and more rural. I'm with Rural Stacker, man. I want to get away from these cities and get somewhere where I can just live comfortably and have a little bit more freedom and quiet and peace and slow down the world around me. Again, avoid some of that noise that happens out there and just kind of enjoy myself. I live in the woods in a tiny house. We built our tiny home ourselves, did it all before tiny house. That's really awesome, rural. Good stuff. Land in the UK is crazy. It's crazy. Like one by 1 foot, it's like 5K in America. You can buy like an acre for that. Or 5K. Yeah, I mean, again, it's all relative. All relative. I can't imagine doing property without professional property management. Yeah, Tim, it's one thing to own property. It's another thing to like develop on it, right? Excuse me, guys. Taking a little gulp there of some coffee, or not coffee, but tea. Yeah, we're in the land discussion all of a sudden. That's true. I'm a landowner, 10 years. The profits are just as good as the equity. Just make sure you do your own research before buying. Awesome. Thanks, Buck Stops here. Looks like, again, this is why we do this live. This is why we actually even have a channel, is because the wealth of information and support and everything that you can get from just putting it out there and discussing things, even if you're wrong, right? Like I know I say things that are incorrect every now and then, and I try to learn and correct myself. But the fact that somebody's out there that's in the live chat that can say, hey, no, this is actually something you should look into, I think it's beneficial for all of us to read and understand. You don't have to just act on what everybody says, but at least listen and pay attention. And man, you can get a lot of good information out there, right? I own 6 parcels of land in the mountains of Colorado. Oh, dude, Colorado mountains are beautiful. I was driving through some mountains the other day, and we would just drive over these valleys, right? And you see the city all, down below in the valley near the near the rivers, and then you see some homes up on the hillside, and you just have this beautiful view, like looking down across like an entire landscape. And man, if that's not like the most serene, satisfying view in life, I don't know what is. I am definitely a hill mountain guy. My wife is more of a flatland beach lady. So if you guys understand, I'm looking for a home where I have access to a beach. You guys know how it works. I can touch 4 trees with one. I definitely want fruit trees. I really do want fruit bearing trees on my property, fruit vine bushes, whatever, strawberry bushes, blueberry bushes, all that kind of stuff. I think just being able to harvest and keep all that stuff for long enough is just, you can jar it, you can jam it, you can eat it straight, you can sell it, you can trade it for other goods. Like maybe you don't have chickens, but a property owner near you has chickens and they lay eggs, and you've got fruit, and you can go and bring them, a bucket of strawberries, and they can give you, a few dozen eggs. And I think that's a great way to live your life, man. I really do appreciate that. I welded for 10 plus units together, now all steel frames. Also convert old trucks into tiny homes, 10 by 20s. Works. Brilliant. My email is in the description of all my videos, man. Hit me up. Send me an email, bud. I'm starting to look for land out in the southeast Colorado. Very good. Very good. I'm going to have to just scroll down and get a little bit caught up, guys. If you guys said a question or something that, is the crystal ball working tonight? Any forecast? Magic Moon? It's always working. It's always working. We have the best forecast, the most accurate forecast, but it's just for me, not for anybody else, right? Dragoon, I'm working on all aluminum sea boats for ultimate sovereignty. That's next. All right, awesome, dude. You got the skills to pay the bills right there. I appreciate it. Fresh Fruits Man, I'm gonna start a nursery, greenhouse, and sell my trees and bushes. There you go. Very cool. All right. So, have we had a retraction yet this evening, or are we still just simply going backwards? What are we doing here? Let's see. Boop. Good. Let's just do a quick quote update here. All right. Gold still hanging strong, tapping that 4,400 mark. $69 up, 1.59% growth. Silver, the leader here at 3.52%. $2.56 at $75.33. It's still so funny that I have silver listed for sale under spot currently, but anyway, funny story. Platinum $13, 0.61%, and palladium's $13. Yeah, I mean, these are not moving. This is nothing for these two metals. As we look on that volatility chart, that growth chart here, right? Those metals are moving a lot more than that right now. So we'll see what happens. This is a good day for gold. Gold doesn't typically have these 2% moves anymore. I'm just not sure if it's going to hold overnight based on the silver chart that we have been seeing, where it tends to break down overnight, and then end lower. So hopefully we can end up higher. Howdy, JK Pioneer. Penny Scout, I accidentally finished my poucho. Did you make your own poucho, Penny Scout, out of leather? What have you been working on? Got an extra? Gonna need a boat too. Yeah, I mean, that's so part of my, I guess you could call it prepper strategy. Part of my prepper strategy is definitely um having access to water so that you have access to get completely away if you need to. You know what I mean? So whether I'm on like a large river that has an outlet into the ocean or a bay that you can get out to the ocean, right? Something like that would be great. So we've got a plan. It's just going to be a slow, methodical plan. I'm not trying to like rush anything. Dude, this thing needs to reset better. Reload. I don't know what I've done to you, but you need to reload, I think. Oh yeah, you're cooked. You are cooked. There we go. Thank you, Trading View. Welcome back. Welcome back. Volume is looking very strong right now. All positive volume. We this was again the end of the day, January 2nd. When did that start? 10:15, and this one started at 2:30. All right, yeah, we'll keep it on it. hello, everybody's saying hello. What's going on, everybody? So yeah, the de-dollarization is my biggest, like, for what I feel is like real concern for. If we go like, the problem is that if you look at history, whenever the U.S. has like a massive economic issue, like a recession or depression, all things go down. All assets go down, including gold and silver. Could this possibly be a situation where we invert that? I don't know. I doubt it. I feel like in times of like absolute panic, people tend to just kind of sell everything and freak out and go into their homes and basically just don't interact with anything and save, and then you see everything go down, stocks go down, real estate goes down, et cetera, et cetera. We'll see what happens with this one. This could be a flip and reverse. Now, and then you have the opposite, where if the US dollar weakens, not talking about the overall US economy, but if the US dollar weakens, which is guaranteed to continue to happen for the rest of our lifetimes, unless there's been a massive overhaul of our entire central bank, Federal Reserve financial system, which I doubt that's going to happen because it's provided us so much global power and wealth. We'll see what happens. So it does feel like I'm going to see if I've got this list of all the nations, but there are a significant number of nations that continue to sort of, here's another article, Uruguay, latest country hoping to ditch the dollar. So we've got Uruguay now continuing, starting, they're doing the quote unquote de-dollarization. And it just seems like every month or so, another country is in the news for essentially buying gold and getting rid of their U.S. bonds and treasuries. So that's really what we should pay attention to, I think, as like the most likely scenario that will cripple all of our wealth. And so how do we hedge against that? I haven't really figured that out other than having dry powder, aka having the cash. Like, you'd have to time that pretty well, but like, you got to have the cash before everything collapses to essentially go and buy up everything, or have enough assets that you could take out a loan. But most places aren't probably going to be doing too many loans if things are looking that terrible, to be able to buy up assets as they're depressed in value. So it's going to be weird. I mean, that's why they're called recessions and depressions, right? But I don't really have a strategy for hedging against like something big like the US losing its global reserve currency status. So we'll see. This the status of the US dollar as the dominant global reserve currency has helped the US find its twin deficits and thereby, or fund its twin deficits, and thereby has enabled them the huge fiscal deficit every year and the massive trade deficit every year. The reserve currency status come from other central banks, not the Fed, having purchased trillions of US dollar denominated assets such as treasury securities, other government securities, corporate bonds, and even stocks. The dollar status as the dominant reserve currency has been crucial for the US, and as that dominance declines ever so slowly, risks pile up ever so slowly. And I feel like that's almost like an act of war, right? Is these nations removing the US dollar from their balance sheets, basically, or, equivalents, is going to make us essentially weaker and weaker and have a less leverage in the entire globe. So that's something we got to pay attention to. Ocean boats don't require a driver license. You can go anywhere in the world, no holds bar. Yeah, as long as your boat can make it there. Copper is going. What's going on? Wholesome One, how you doing? Copper is doing well as well. Nice. I built it messing around, was playing around with it to figure out how to form it, close it, and nail it. My first attempt. So you just went ahead and finished it, huh? Nice work, buddy. All right. A machine that makes water from air is called an atmospheric water generator, which works by pulling in humid air, cooling it to create condensation. That sounds like it would work great in particularly the South, right? Especially during the summers, but particularly in the South, that'd be a great machine. You can live in the desert if you want. That's cool, man. Good stuff. God said he will break the bounds from off of our backs. That's this year, man. That's brilliance. I don't know if I'm ready to live through a biblical Armageddon style situation, man. I guess, the human being, we will all find a way to survive and thrive through anything. That's our nature. That's animalistic nature. But man, I don't know if I'm ready. There's a lot more I still want to do before we have to go through some cataclysmic collapse of anything. That's where I'm at. The U.S. weaponized the dollar. Now the world is looking for alternatives. Nap time. Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably a lot of truth to that. So we got to see what we can. We just got to do the best you can for your situation, your family is really where I'm at. The pan metals bull market confirmed. Silver enters the melt up mode. Another, obviously, any article, just a disclaimer here. Any article that comes from a bullion dealer is going to be probably positive in acquiring metals. So we just understand that bias in what we're reading naturally there, right? I'm running out of time here. I kind of took a little longer than I expected. Maybe next time I need to make sure I go a little bit more direct to my points. I had some stuff going on here, but I'll end it with this. Here's what I'm at. I am right now. This is how I feel about silver. I am actually very bullish. I'm very bullish on silver right now. I am buying. The only reason I'm selling anything at all, is very simply to increase my reputation with these marketplaces, to increase the number of transactions that I have under my screen names and usernames, so that if there is a point in the future where I want to buy and sell stuff, those transactions are easier and I'm more trusted on those platforms. Otherwise, I'm pretty much just buying slowly. I am focusing primarily on gold right now. For my own stack, I need a little bit more gold. So I've been buying some fractional golds, 1/10, 1/4, pre-33 gold in the $5 and the $2.50 US. And I'm also looking at $2.50 and $2, dos peso and dos y media pesos. So right, I'm working on those things. So that's where I'm at. But I'm also always buying silver. You guys are new to the channel. If you're new to the channel, I have a campaign to own the most $50 by any individual in the world. And it's going to be a campaign that takes me decades. And I'm well on my way. So I'm always buying that stuff and stacking it. So that's kind of what I'm enjoying. Let's see. Do you think it's too late for me to eat a sloppy Joe? I got a glass Joe stomach. The buck stops here. I'm going to go with yes. I don't really understand the question, but I think yes is the right answer. I don't know. I'm referring to treasury bonds being sold. Oh, okay. Got you. Oh, yeah. Nap time. I got a lot. If you watch any of my other videos, I typically talk about constitutional. Anyway, so this is the format for the video. I didn't get into my alternative investments tonight. I wanted to talk about some oil companies and oil futures and things that I was looking at. I will save that for the next live because I'm going to try to go live every evening. My plan is to be like your TV guide every night, 9 p.m. The show will be on. We will talk about metals. We'll talk about the markets. We'll talk about other news articles that are out there. We'll talk about alternative investments. Hell, tonight we're going to talk about land and tiny homes, apparently. We just take it with whatever people are interested in talking about. Go check out this book if you haven't already, The Noise Factor. I really do think you're going to enjoy this book. I think it will give you a different outlook on the U.S. markets because sometimes ease of access and continually updating numbers is not always the best thing in your life. check this out. This is a good book, a really good, easy read, but it is impactful. So I encourage you to go check that out. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, God bless you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks, Stapler, for gifting memberships to all the people. Thanks for the super chats, the subscriptions. I see a few people have subscribed this evening while we were live. You guys are awesome. I hope that I can continue to make these videos more and more impactful, exciting, fun to engage you with, that you feel valued, that your opinion feels valued and heard when you give it in the comment section here. That's what I got for you. I'm not Nostradamus. I'll just give my best analysis based on 20 plus years of trading in all sorts of different markets and my experience with that. And I'm sure you guys have a ton of experience to share with us all as well. Yeah, man, this has been amazing. Have a great night. The Real Gear Up Survival. Thanks for hopping in here right at the end. Go back and watch the VOD if you haven't already. Peace, love. I'll see you guys later.